So I want to just start by welcoming all of you. Thank you for joining us today. We're all learning on ways that we can optimize our pets' health. And Dr. Evelyn Kass is a holistic veterinarian. She's an integrative holistic veterinarian, and that's a little bit different. She uses food and nutritional support to truly impact her patients. And after healing herself from damage caused by 2 autoimmune issues, and I think she's probably going to share a little bit about that, but she did it using diet and herbs. And so that was something that she wasn't taught when she was studying to be a veterinarian, but she realized the power of food to heal. And she has her own website, petnutritiondoctor.com, right?
That's right.
And she's been featured in Reader's Digest, Chewy.com, been a guest on Vital Pet and Holistic Actions for Animals. She's an expert contributor on Dream Dog CBD and on the advisory boards of Animal Essentials and Biome. So I think that we can probably understand a little bit more about what that is. But she provides basically nutritional consultation on how to aid people that love their pets and how to help them give their pets the best life so they can be here as long as we want them to be here, for as long as possible, and really have an impact on their lifespan. So Dr. Evelyn Kass, would you please tell us why this journey and what led you to your passion to truly have an impact and address health challenges in animals?
Sure. I mean, Donna, I really appreciate you inviting me on here. This is a great opportunity. You know, as you said, I was trained as a traditional veterinarian in allopathic medicine, and that's how I practiced for many, many years. And I think, like most of us in the health space, when we get into this holistic space, it's because we've had our own health challenges. For me, it was a span of 12 months. I was diagnosed with 2 autoimmune diseases and cancer. And so that was a big hit. Yeah. And what I discovered, actually, I mean, I knew from treating patients with autoimmune diseases, there's not a whole lot that we can offer from the allopathic side, right? We can suppress the immune system. That just makes things worse because then we end up with other diseases. But there's really no talk about healing. And at the time, I had 3 young children, and the idea of having this progressive, ongoing issue, it just wasn't an option for me. So I started doing some research, and I started really going down that pathway. And I found a lot of people that were already way ahead of me and were healing with diet and nutrition. And I started a lot of trial and error. I mean, it was a lot of trial and error and research in the beginning, but at the time I was diagnosed with Hashimoto's thyroiditis, which is autoimmune disease of the thyroid gland. I was told by an ultrasound, they said there is no functional thyroid tissue left. That's it. You're done. You're going to be on thyroid medication for life. I'm going to tell you, I am not on any thyroid medication now. I have no signs of thyroid disease, and everything seems to be functioning perfectly well. So, and the other was a gut issue and with celiac, because I can't do gluten. So like so many other people with celiac disease, it had gone pretty far, and that is, 90% healed at this point. I have this wide, diverse diet, which makes it a whole lot easier to be healthy. But then I had the opportunity to learn on my cat, because humans and our carnivorous pets are different. A lot of the things are the same, in terms of how we address the nutrition, but they need a meat-based diet where we need more of a plant-based diet. And she decided to have this episode of severe pancreatitis and inflammatory bowel disease. And I had been partway down my journey, and I figured allopathic medicine did not have a whole lot to offer her. I could put her on steroids, I could suppress her immune system, but I didn't want to do that. I knew the path. I'd seen so many cats go down that road. So I switched her diet. I used a lot of the supplements that I used on myself to heal my gut. She is now 17 years old and doing very well. So that's what set me on the journey. I knew I had to bring this to my patients. If I could do that for my cat and myself, I had to use this on my patients.
Wow, that's
Absolutely.
wonderful to hear about that kind of transformation. It's very interesting to hear you say, and it's ironic that in allopathic approaches the focus is not on healing, because we go to our vets, don't we, for healing, and
That's
and yet it's not really happening. So that caused your shift clearly. So talk to us a little bit more about your overall philosophy to for keeping animals healthy, for bringing healing to them.
right. And, as you mentioned, allopathic medicine, it's a lot like it's the way we deal with everything in society. If we don't like it, we kill it, suppress it, block it, right? It's anti everything, anti parasitic, antibacterial, anti whatever. And with holistic medicine, the whole idea is to support the natural healing ability of the body, because we have it all within us. The body has this tremendous, miraculous ability to heal. If we kind of get out of the way, we got to remove the toxins. We've got to support the systems, and that means providing the proper nutrition. And nutrition is challenging these days. We know that so much of our food is being sprayed with toxins, and that's just one more stress to the system. And our soils are depleted if we're not getting things from certain sources where we know that their soils have the nutrients that we need. So we often have to add some other supplements in there just to bring us back into balance. But that's my main goal. In no matter whether a client is bringing me a patient with allergies or cancer, I start with the gut. I start with healing that gut lining, and bringing things back into balance. So that's my general goal.
We've talked about that on several other conversations, just about how that gut is like 70% of our immune system resides right there. And if it's off, it's going to start affecting other things.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. It's incredible.
So how can like there's so many different ideas and advertisements and people with the very best intentions. They found this amazing thing that's going to help your animal and all that. How can you know that what you're giving your pet is on solid ground? And I think I'm thinking of your average pet owner. How can they know? How do they sift through everything to find what's truly good for their pet?
It's truly a challenge. You're right. It's just like nutrition. You can read 5 different people and you'll get 5 different opinions. But there are some things that people can look for. And on the pet supplement side, we are so fortunate to have this organization. It's called the National Animal Supplement Council, NASC, and they have a seal. And so if the supplement company is really being transparent and they really care about what's in their product, they will get that certification. And what that does is, first off, it tells you that what is in the bottle is what it says on the label. And that's not always the case, human or veterinary, because we don't even have anything on the human side as powerful as this NASC seal. So we know that what's on the label is actually what's inside, which is first and foremost. But secondly, it goes through and it looks at the manufacturing process of this company to make sure that it is that they are following good manufacturing processes, as well as making sure that it's a clean environment and that the products are cleanly sourced. So that's a huge place to start. And then, you can look up, you can get a lot of information on the internet. There's some good stuff and some bad stuff, but I think sometimes if you really are new to this, getting some help from somebody who knows what they're doing is probably the best way to go about it.
Right,
Absolutely.
right. Because we can't necessarily trust everything we're reading online. So turning to
Right.
somebody like you, I guess, for advice on what's best to give their animal.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's going to be really important. I have clients come to me, as you say, with best intentions in mind. They love their pets and they come to me with a shopping bag full of different supplements. And some of them are duplications. Some of them really, you look at the ingredients and it might have a little bit of ashwagandha or whatever they're going after. and the rest of it is sugar and fillers and stuff that's just not so good for their pets. And so it's unfortunately it's a lot of research. There's a
It's
lot that
really
goes in.
important to get the product from the manufacturer, from where it's sourced rather than spin-offs. I mean, honestly, personally, I would not buy anything that I was going to consume from Amazon. I would go to whoever is going to, and I buy a lot from Amazon, but not something that I'm going to ingest.
Yeah, and that's a big issue. I'm glad you brought that up. I actually have a friend who owns a supplement company, and one of his challenges is other people supplying his products or saying that they're his products on
Right.
Amazon. And typically, if he gets a return because of a problem, he'll look at he'll look at what's inside. The bottle looks really good because it's easy to counterfeit a label in a bottle,
Sure.
right? But what's inside is not actually his product, and obviously he can't stand by it at that point. So it's a real challenge. Unfortunately, unless it's coming from the manufacturer, you don't know if it's even the right product, but you also don't know how it's been stored, how it's been handled, and how long it's been sitting on the shelf. So you're right, absolutely. Supplements should come from the manufacturer whenever possible. There are a few manufacturers that you have to go through distributors, but go with the ones that they recommend. Don't just buy it, randomly. It
Yeah.
makes a big difference. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I know early on, I was thinking I was showing my beautiful English Springer Spaniel love because I give her table scraps and,
Mhm.
would give her a lot of treats, so to speak.
Right.
But she gained a lot of weight, and this was when she was very, very young.
Mhm.
And, I was loving her the wrong way.
Yeah.
I wasn't really loving her, even though I thought I was. And so we got on track with that, but we always fed her a raw diet. It's just
Mhm.
I added other stuff to that, right?
Right. Right.
And so we got her on track, and she also um, was really highly active up until the very end. And she was on a very special product that reduced oxidative stress. And the lifespan of Springers is supposed to be 12 to 14 years. And this dear little girl lived till she was almost 17. We just said goodbye to her in July of last year. That was very
So
hard. I
hard.
won't go down that road.
Yes. Yeah.
but,
That's hard.
I think
but
Mia brings up
she,
a good kind of segue into, like she mentioned, this thing, oxidative stress. That's a term that I think we don't think about a whole lot. And what I was wondering is pivoting over to some of the things are that are at the core of
Mhm.
why an animal might face health issues and why they might, well, we already know they age quicker than humans, but
Yes.
why they might be sped along towards an earlier demise than they really need to be, and much like humans. So what kind of you find at the root core of that?
Sure. That's a great question. We talk about oxidative stress and free radicals, and of course, some of that is a natural part of our energy production, right? Anytime we make ATP from sugar, we're producing free radicals. And the body has this natural, innate ability to manage those, to reduce those free radicals and cycle things through. But as we get older, we and all mammals start ability to deal with the free radicals and to deal with that oxidative stress. But things like emotional stress, environmental stress, infections, toxins, which of course we're surrounded by them all the time, all of those add to the oxidative stress. And so anytime we can help the body to deal with that, we really need to. And to your point, there is a supplement that I recommend to a lot of my patients. Anytime we have inflammation, which chronic inflammation is the source of aging, it's the source of most of the diseases that we see. So clearly, most of the patients that I see are dealing with a lot of oxidative stress. And so this product that you mentioned, it upregulates the natural body's ability to deal with those free radicals.
Hmm.
So instead of saying, hey, you can add some blueberries, well, that's going to add this much, we can upregulate the natural system and get it working again. So this is what I talked about in the beginning, is support that natural healing ability, because it's all inside. We have it all in our genes. And if we can activate those genes, then we can really help these patients to move forward and heal a lot better.
Just for a
Yeah,
moment,
so, yes, it's very important to choose the right foods and to know what foods to
Yes.
give your animals. But, it's also important to know what else we can do, because none of us can eat 75 pounds of broccoli a day, which is probably what we need to be able to be,
Well,
at the top of our game, right? But we
yeah,
can't do that. So we do need to find other ways to help the diet along and help our nutritional success.
would
absolutely.
you just for a moment unpack just a little bit this oxidative stress idea? Because what is that?
Well, during natural enzyme processes within the body, we end up producing these extra electrons. It's really a biochemical process and a very natural one. But with those extra electrons, those can go and damage cells. They can damage DNA. They can cause aging, but they also set off the whole pathway. They set off this messenger system of cytokines and inflammatory molecules that create what we consider chronic inflammation. And that might show up anywhere, right? It could show up in the skin as allergies. It could show up in dogs, it'll be in the skin and allergies, and people would be more nasal, sinus. It could show up in as obesity. Actually, obesity is kind of that's a cycle, because the fat actually ends up adding to that inflammatory process and the messengers there. It can show up as inflammatory bowel disease or cancer or diabetes. I mean, all of these, and then each one of those has its own process that adds, negative cycle on the oxidative pathway. So what we want to do is balance it out. We need oxidation and reduction. They are the two sides of the coin. And just like we need light and dark, and we need yin and yang, we need all of it, but it's got to be balanced.
Yeah.
And that's
So
the
do
goal.
you talk to your patients who bring their animals in about that, about oxidative stress, or is that kind of your little like trade secret that you just give them what they need and you don't necessarily say, well, we want to reduce the oxidative stress here. That's going to help a lot. Do you ever say anything like that,
I
or
do mention it, but I don't. It depends on the client and how much they want to know. Some people
right?
don't want the science; they just want to know what can I do.
Right.
But if they want the science, yes, and I will actually send them for more information about the science, because there's so much out there. There's thousands and thousands of articles on oxidative stress and how it affects us all. So it's a big area of research. We know that it's a problem, and we know that things in the environment right now that we're dealing with, even the EMF coming off of our computers right now, is adding to our oxidative stress. Right. So everything that we do in our life pretty much adds to that oxidative stress.
And what
Just
about
because we breathe.
yeah, but and I'll breathe, but also what about the pet food aisle in the supermarket?
Yeah.
Because I mean, there's so much without mentioning specific products. They're just things that are so popularly advertised and all that kind of thing. And I would assume that some of these are perhaps exacerbating oxidative stress, potentially depending on what's in them and
And also how they're processed.
how they're processed.
So, you bring that up, and right, most of us, and I'm sure most of the people watching this channel in particular, you don't eat a whole lot of processed foods. And yet we just got into that habit of going to the store and grabbing a bag of dry food for our dogs, which is the most processed of foods that you can ever get, and often using some of the least quality, lowest quality ingredients, because pet food companies are not required to have the higher standards of human foods. And so all of that adds to oxidative stress. And we know, I mean, there's things as you heat meat, especially in the face of sugars. We talk about grilling the meat on we get that black char, and that's adds advanced glycation end products, which are oxidative molecules. They cause aging, AGE, they cause aging. But that's also very, very high in a lot of our pet foods, because the products are heated, combined, dried, heated again to make a slurry, dried again. And there's so many processes that add that heat to already poor quality, probably mostly oxidized ingredients. So yes, absolutely. I think food is at the source, which is why I do the nutritional end. And whole foods, and like you said, raw diets can be perfect. In fact, I have my core course is the great debate, raw versus kibble. And I get into that and I talk about, first off, what is a species appropriate diet? Because I think that's critical. We need to feed the right foods for the right animal. But then we can go through and look at the label and understand what the label is saying, what the ingredient list really means, and also what the guaranteed analysis shows us and what it doesn't. So that's a great place for people to start. But I do get into the oxidative part of it in that because it's huge. It's a huge aspect of it.
And of course, the issue is the same whether it's your dog or your cat or even your
Or
Horse.
horse, I
or
would assume.
yourself, you know.
Oh,
I mean,
yes. Right.
so many, I can't tell you how many patients or clients I have, and they're willing to do all this for their pets. And they say, I don't even eat that well. I don't feed my husband that well. I'm like, start doing that too, you know?
Put the oxygen mask on yourself so you can take care of everybody else.
That's it. That is it. And that's part of my goal and my focus is it's not just about the pets. It's about all of us. We all need this information. We really need to understand it. And the oxidative stress is huge for all of us because we're living in the same world. And so, I do talk about that with my clients too. Take this for yourself and give some to the dog. That's what I do. I share mine, you know.
So many people might say, the price, it's so much more expensive to feed your dog or raw food or, but is it expensive at what cost? And that's true for us too. If you're not eating cleanly, it's going to affect you down the road. So make the choices now and decide what you can do less of to be the healthiest version that you can be, right? For yourself and for your animal.
Yeah, well, and it's easier for me to kind of talk to some of my clients who have their dogs on 5 different medications. What are you paying for your medications? Let's move some of that into some good, healthy foods and less visits to the vet, less lab work later on, not right now, but, as we move forward. And
wouldn't it be nice to get off the medications as well?
And start proactively healing instead of reactively trying to apply synthetic remedies. Well,
Absolutely.
Dr. Evelyn Kass, we like to respect people's time. We hold these to about 20 minutes. And so, Mia, do you have any final question for Dr. Evelyn?
Well, I think she's really addressed a lot of it, would you say most of the issues that our beloved furry friends have resides with their nutrition? Would you say that's true, that you could probably pinpoint most of them to the nutritional component?
Absolutely. I mean, I could list off all the diseases that that are affected by food, and you'd get the top 15 of the chronic inflammatory diseases that we see in pets. And then even the others that are lower down on the list, if we follow that rabbit hole all the way down, we'll find that healing the gut's still going to help with pretty much anything. So yes, absolutely. I always start with food, and then we support the organs or the functions that are out of balance.
I mean, we want to hear as long as possible, right? So, and we know that animals have more of that oxidative stress than even us because their lifespan is shorter.
Yes.
So,
absolutely.
Dr. Evelyn, do you have an Instagram and a Facebook as well that people, if they wanted to ask you questions, they could be in touch with you? Yes.
Absolutely. The best way probably is through my website at petnutritiondoctor.com. There's a contact us page, and they can contact me directly through there. But yeah, definitely can message through Facebook or Instagram as well.
Is that pet doctor spelled out on the website?
Either way, you'll get there.
So could you just say it one more time for people?
Pet Nutrition Doctor. And you can
Pet
spell
nutri-
out doctor or just do DR. Either way, it'll
Very
get there.
good. That was smart to set
We
it
can
up
also
both
put
ways.
that in the comments as
Thank you.
well,
Right.
you know.
Well,
But it's such a delight to have you with us here today.
Thank
And
you
if you're
so-
catching the replay, friends, we're just so grateful to share this information with you and Dr. Kass's expertise. And we're just here to help you give your pets, your beloved furry friends, you know, the best life you possibly can.
Please feel free to reach out to us here at Activate and Thrive. You can message us or just stick a comment in here and we'll see it, and we'll be happy to help you with, further ways that you can benefit your precious furry friends. Dr. Evelyn Kass, thank you so much for joining us today. And thanks everybody for being here. Enjoy the rest of your day, wherever you are.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mia and Don. Appreciate it. Have a great day.
You too. Bye-bye.